Hello and welcome to Homicide Hobbies. I'm Andy,
And I'm Claire.
and we're here to talk about some of the disturbing things that go on in the world, past and present. We feel like not knowing doesn't mean the crazy doesn't exist.
So we're going to scar you with the knowing.
Enjoy.
So today I bring you Peter Demeter, who is a Canadian murderer.
I like his name.
Because that's important, Andrea.
Wait. He got teased, Peter Demeter.
Okay, so I assume the Canadians don't want to claim him, but Peter grew up in Budapest, Hungary, so he's not. He immigrates later to Canada, but we'll rewind. So Peter was born in 1933 in Budapest, Hungary. He was born to an upper middle class family of 4, which consisted of him, his older brother, and then his mom and dad. He lived a very comfortable lifestyle, even being taken to school by a private chauffeur. Now, up until that point, he lives that, I don't want to say luxurious lifestyle, but they were comfortable. But January 2nd, 1945, the apartment building that his family lived in was struck by a stray Russian shell. At this time, Peter's 12 years old, mind you, and this is like the end of World War II. Yeah, over 400 people died, and the rescuers were only able to save 23 people that lived in that building, which included young Peter, which again, he's 12, and his mother. So I can only imagine what he endured, and I mean, he was in Europe during World War II as a child, so who knows what he saw or heard, or just the bodies of his neighbors, I would imagine, is a lot to grapple with.
Yeah, that's definitely life-changing.
Yeah. Which, mind you, like in this point in time, about 80% of Hungary is demolished because of World War II. So it's just like everybody's struggling. The family tries to get back on track, which, I mean, it is very hard to do. Peter decides he wants to study to become an actor, but he's expelled from school because his family has a history of being anti-communist, which I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either.
Because at first I thought it was going to be just like whenever we research any of these, you kind of go down the realm of youthful offenders.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, here it goes. He got expelled for his family's history of being anti-communist.
It's definitely a new one.
So in 1954, Peter flees to Vienna, where he lives in a refugee camp. And then he gets a job at a local radio station interviewing other refugees and talking about life behind the Iron Curtain. It was during this time he met his lifelong friend Saba Silagi. Now, in 1956, he briefly moves to Canada, but then had to return to Vienna to look after his sick mother. And then the following year, after she passes, he returns back to Canada, and this time for good. And when he does move back, he convinces his buddy old pal Saba to move with him. And then they live with Peter's cousins, who also went to Canada. But he lives with them since they are already established in Canada until the two of them can get on their feet. Now, when Peter gets to Canada, he only has $8 to his name. And then he quickly starts earning money as a real estate agent and selling homes to other Hungarian immigrants. Now, by 1962, he has founded his own real estate company and invests $20,000 into building an apartment building in Ontario's West End. Now, it's alleged that $20,000 he uses as a down payment, he made by scamming investors back in Hungary. Now, this has never been proven, so it's just one of those, it's in the air. Whether it's true or not, I don't know.
I was going to say, good on him. He sounds like a hard worker and he's really trying. But if it's all off of scams, then...
Well, I kind of saw it as if you can't prove it, I mean, that doesn't mean it didn't happen, but maybe he had people who were jealous and just breathed that into the air and were upset that he started from nothing, quite
Yeah.
literally.
Well, what doesn't make sense too is if he started with nothing, how did he have the scam thing going on back in Hungary? Because don't you think he would have had money coming in, right?
I don't know.
Essentially,
I'm not a scam artist, Andrea.
never said you were.
Although
Are you
if
feeling
you're
guilty?
if you're making I mean, if you're selling homes often enough, you figure it's almost what 6, 7 years he saved $20,000.
I don't know. I think
Me
it's
neither.
possible.
I'm just telling you what had happened. I know that's what I'm saying. I could see it happen. I don't see why not. Um,
We're gonna chalk that one up to haters.
yeah, obviously Canada is becoming home to him. Now I don't know why he travels back to Vienna in 1965, but he travels to Vienna in 1965. But so when he gets there, he meets a 29-year-old model, Marina Hunt. Now, Peter falls in love with her and proposes to her the second time they meet in person. Now,
Wait,
nah.
do what?
Yeah. So he's all swoony. And now, mind you,
He
Marina,
proposed after 2 days?
he sure is a quick
Wow.
closer.
Okay.
Well, Marina, not feeling the same way, rejects him.
Smart girl.
Peter suffers a nervous breakdown after the rejection and then spends 3 nights in the hospital before he returns to Canada.
Do we have a picture of her? Because I got to see what lands a man in the hospital. Like, what the heck?
So I feel like at this point, Peter, maybe he was on such a success rate with his business, he wasn't used to being told no. I don't know. That's a pretty. He only saw her twice in person, and her declining his marriage proposal lands him in the hospital. I'm gonna say not all right upstairs. So way to go, Marina.
Dodged a bullet there. And no means no.
Well, he doesn't take the no.
Oh,
So Peter uh, keeps writing her love letters, and despite her having a serious boyfriend at the time, she writes back to him.
oh, goodness.
So I say shame on her for even leading him on. So I think
Yeah.
she kind of stokes the fire, which is not fair. You can't have your cake and eat it too. It wasn't right to the person she was supposedly serious with. It couldn't have been too serious anyhow if you're going to write love letters with somebody else. And mind you, Peter doesn't know about the other dude.
Wow.
So
Okay.
she missed an opportunity to say something. But anywho, so in 1966, Peter returns to Vienna so that he and Marina could celebrate their 1 year anniversary of meeting each other. Now, when he
He's
gets
trying real hard, isn't he?
he sure
Like,
is. So when he gets there, he finds out that Marina has a boyfriend still. Or well, like
does he go back to the hospital?
that whole year of them writing love letters back and forth, that's really fucked up. So
Yeah.
he flies into a rage, shows up at her home and beats her ass.
I mean, he has the right to be pissed.
But not to lay hands on people. You should have just
No.
gone home, go back, check yourself back in the hospital, take yourself a couple naps. But
Go eat a container of ice cream and a bottle of liquor, like whatever you got to do. But she, okay.
yeah, yeah. I feel
Not
like
gonna not trying. I'm assuming she's our
she's
victim.
not. She's not.
Okay, well then shame on her because that was wrong of her.
I know. A year of writing love letters back and forth. That's really shame, 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 shame. Okay, well, so Peter, after he whoops her butt a little bit, I don't assume it's too bad. I didn't see anything where she went to the hospital or any of that, so she couldn't have gotten knocked around too badly. But he assaulted
We don't
her.
condone physical violence.
Whether it results in the hospital or not, but just saying.
She kind of had it coming.
She did. Don't play games with people. If you're in another relationship, she had an opportunity to be like, yeah, so I respectfully decline your marriage proposal, guy.
And then just cut her losses. It was 2 freaking times of meeting this guy. And on the second time he's proposing, what? Like,
Yeah.
you don't start writing love letters with said crazy dude.
I could see him be a little crazier if she wasn't writing back, but she was. So I feel bad for him because a year of doing
Yeah,
that's catfishing. She's the original catfisher.
I don't think that's the right context,
Shut up,
but
Andrea. How do you know it wasn't and then it's just evolved? Okay?
because he knows what she looks like. The whole thing of catfishing is that you pretend to be
You're
somebody
ugly,
else.
fugly. Fine, fine. It's not catfishing. She's
I think
just
it's
the
more,
original asshole.
well, I think it's more on the, what is the new phrase? Like kitten fishing, where you're like,
Okay, so this is a new one. I've never heard of kitten fishing. It
yeah,
sounds pedophilia, by the way.
so it's like when it's almost like catfishing. So catfishing is when you just pretend to be somebody completely different. But kitten fishing is where like you are you, but maybe you're hiding behind your filters, but you're still kind of look like yourself,
Or
or
you're
you
sharing a
pretend,
20-year-old picture or
or you
younger picture.
or or you pretend like you're more interested in outdoorsy stuff because you're trying to snag said other person who's really into outdoorsy stuff. Like you kind of fib on who
How's that
you
any
are
different than just being a fake ass?
because it's still at least your face. As we're catfishing, people don't, you're like 100% a lie. This one, you're like 50-50 liar.
No, like you're not ready to take the whole plunge.
Correct.
People are weird.
So there's a lesson for today, kitten fishing.
I'm gonna Google that later because I feel like you just made that up. I'm gonna
I,
add it to your fart prints.
fuck you. I don't even know how to explain that one, you fucking bitch.
Allow me. Okay. So me and Andrea were talking one day and she misspoke. Instead of saying muddy footprints, somehow fart prints came out, to which horrified me. And I said, if the dog was leaving fart prints, newsflash, that's not farts. The dog shit the bed. To which I was also relieved to learn they were muddy footprints.
Yes,
Anywho,
I meant to say footprints, and instead it came out fart prints, and I just went with it. Well, I sent you a nice little snippet of what kitten fishing is, if you'd like to go ahead and tell us what that says.
I don't know if this was going to entail reading. Hold on. Kitten fishing. Based on the internet slang term catfishing, kitten fishing is the act of making oneself appear more desirable in online dating apps, especially through the use of old or edited photos and inflated profile descriptions.
So there you go. I didn't make it up, bitch.
That was uncalled for.
So was calling me out on fart prints. I was completely unnecessary. Kitten fishing, a thing. Fart prints, I freaking spoke.
Technically, fart prints is a thing if we want to go down the realm of slang terms. I just didn't realize it until it was yet another word that you decided to throw out there and educate me in my vocabulary. Now I have kitten fishing and fart prints. I'm sure that'll come up in almost everyday conversation.
Google fart prints, see if it's a thing.
It is a thing.
If you Google it, it really is?
Yes.
Ew.
Because I was going to go on Wikipedia or urbandictionary.com and coin you as having the credit for the first fart print reference, but then I was gravely disappointed to go on to both and find that fart print is a wet fart or a skid mark. And I was like, so I don't know whether I should have been disappointed or not, but I was.
I feel like that's pretty nasty. But
there's
I didn't even realize that was a thing.
Whoa. It gets even worse because when I went down that rabbit hole of fart printing, it went to fart art, which is where people stuff paint into their asshole and fart it onto a blank canvas. Gives a whole new meaning to smell the rainbow.
Fart art? I didn't even know that was a thing. Jason was telling me about some lady that does penis art, which reminded me, I saw a thing one time about a guy that does artwork, but instead of using a paintbrush, he uses his penis.
Cool.
It's
Thanks
so
for that.
weird. Well, no, you just said people shove the art up their ass and to do fart art. Okay, let's not act like that's
They
out of your
don't
realm of
they
weirdness
don't
here.
they don't shove the art up their butt. It's
You
paint,
just
Andrea. They put the paint in their rectum and then fart it out onto a canvas and Picasso comes out. I don't know. I don't do it. I just said when I was in Urban Dictionary, it went down the rabbit hole of things that I did not know existed and now wish I could remove from my brain permanently. But
well, we all thank you for sharing this information.
now let's get back to our story. So he assaults Marina and then scurries on home. Now, 2 weeks later, he meets a new lady and suddenly he's recovered over Marina. This new lady's name is Christine Ferrari. Now, Christine is also a model, but she's born in Austria and she's been married once before to a man named Herbert Handling. Now, the two had a son together, but Christine wanted to pursue a career in modeling, and the couple divorced, with Herbert gaining full custody of their son and Christine moving to Vienna. So, Peter and Christine, they quickly fall in love because if we haven't learned anything from before, Peter falls quick and he falls hard. So, Christine moves to Toronto to live with Peter and also to pursue her career as a model, but she'll tell people that Peter becomes controlling. I don't know to what extent we're talking about. But there's also reports that around this time when she moves to Toronto, that Christine had an affair and that Peter kind of changes his behavior. And then Christine shows up one evening at a friend's house with a busted lip, saying that she didn't want to be in a relationship with Peter anymore. Now,
I
her,
mean, I feel like she should have not cheated. If you don't want to be in a relationship, you break up.
yeah,
Not to condone him laying hands on her, just poor guy can't seem to catch a break.
he maybe steer away from the models. Not saying all models are bad, but anywho, so this friend whose house she shows up to with the bloody lip buys her a plane ticket to go back to Austria, but Christine never uses it. Instead, 9 days after her 27th birthday, she marries Peter.
Oh, that's smart. The controlling guy that you just said you don't want to be in a relationship with and gave you a bloody lip. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and marry him. Sound decision.
So I kind of feel like she fell in love with the lifestyle because, mind you, Peter is a successful real estate person now. So I think she kind of fell in love with the lavish lifestyle
So she's a
because,
gold digger.
well, I kind of feel like since she wanted to pursue being a model, I do feel like when Peter probably asked, that's exactly what she saw it as a ticket to. I don't know that. We'll never know. But when I saw it, I was just like, why would you get married to somebody? I mean, mind you, when he punched her in the face or knocked her around or whatever happened, whether she had an affair or not, and he just thought she was, that why would you get married to him?
Yeah, no, not victim shaming, but make better
But
choices.
it is what
Ladies,
it
if your
is.
boyfriend's beating on you, don't turn around and marry him.
Now, like I said, the couple lives a lavish lifestyle because of Peter's success at his real estate career. And then in 1970, they have a daughter named Andrea. Now, Peter
Fabulous name.
Peter was happy at first, but quickly became suspicious that Christine had had another affair because he believed his daughter Andrea didn't look a thing like him.
Right. So there is a thing called like you don't look anything like us.
I was gonna say,
I don't
I'm
know.
curious where this is going. It's a thing
So
called yes.
it's just genetics. Like you're not going to look identical to your parents. And while you look different than me and our other two siblings, my daughter looks just like you. So figure that one out. Doesn't necessarily mean there was an affair, people.
Thanks for that little nugget. But anyway, naturally, in his little warped, twisted brain, if he thinks she's having an affair, he goes, I'm going to reach out to Marina Hunt, his old flame, and
That's better than him
begin.
beating the crap out of her again.
Well, these two dipshits start writing love letters again. Marina, if you were distracted, and Peter.
Yeah.
So in 1973, Marina writes to Peter telling him that she's going to get married to her boyfriend, which is just another one of these. The fuck are you two writing letters to each other and in other relationships? Either, shit or get off the pot, people.
Lovely.
So, but they don't. Peter decides he's going to buy her a plane ticket to come to Canada so they can spend a romantic weekend together. Naturally. What the fuck, Andrea?
Great minds, Claire. Great minds.
But by the end of this weekend, they decide they want to be together. So he sends Marina back to Vienna to sort out her life there, tie up loose ends, break up with her fiance, and also books her return plane ticket for roughly 4 weeks later.
4 weeks to break up?
Well, that way she can tie up everything because she's going to get rid of everything in Vienna and then come marry Peter in Canada.
I'm assuming she doesn't have any children by her fiance or anybody else, right?
Not that I know of, but at this point,
I would sure hope not.
I put nothing past Marina.
Trifling ass skank. Okay, anyway.
Now, a couple weeks after their little shindig weekend thing, which, by the way, I was kind of curious, how the hell do you spend a weekend with another chick and your spouse none the wiser? Because I imagine he was spending the night there, not leaving her in a hotel. How do you spend that one?
Maybe he was abusive and she was just grateful when he was gone.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he lied about a real estate thing. I have no idea, but whatever. Him and Marina spent a weekend together in Quebec. So a couple weeks later, him and Christine have like a weekend hosting family and a few friends at their home on July 18th, 1973. Now, Peter took the group to Toronto to go shopping and left Christine and their daughter Andrea to spend the day relaxing by the pool, which I thought was really weird. Like,
Why?
You have a party at your house and then you're going to go tour around, but leave his daughter and his wife at home while they go shopping.
Well, who is at the party? Is it his family and they don't like her because they think she's been a cheating asshole? Or is it like friends of theirs?
What would the daughter do?
I don't know. Maybe they were going to go do some adult things and children weren't allowed. Who knows?
Okay. Well, Peter spends most of the day out with one of the friends. During that time, he tells his friend about how he and Christine are having marital problems. He also tells about Marina, how Marina came to visit. I would assume somebody, like, they know about Marina since he was writing to her for a year. So
he was hospitalized over this chick.
So you could be right. It could have been his family visiting, because that would be really fucked up to tell her family that this girl came and they just had a romantic weekend together. But so he tells them about that trip to Quebec and that he only married Christine because Marina had turned him down, which I was like, even if that's true, what the fuck? Yeah. You have a 3-year-old together.
Yeah, that's pretty harsh. And actually thinking about it, since he thinks there's a chance that the kid's not his, that's probably why he didn't take the daughter with them. Like, he's one of those pigs that just doesn't like the kid. Like, it's the kid's fault where it came from.
Yeah. Could be.
Hey, wait. So, not to do a spoiler here, but do we know whether or not it was ever confirmed that it is his kid? Because I would really be curious.
I was thinking that earlier because she's still alive. So, if she wanted to know, she could.
I'm curious. Not
but
that it
no,
matters.
It doesn't come back up other than that little nugget of It seems like whenever people get into squabbles, that's the first thing some of these dipshits go to is, "It's not mine. How do I know? Doesn't look like me."
Yeah.
Okay. But no, I don't know.
Okay.
So the group return home for dinner, but Peter's guests were disappointed because whatever they were shopping for, they didn't find it. So Peter says, "Okay, well, we'll eat an early dinner and then we'll go back out to a different place." So he loads everyone up,
What the hell
even
were they
the
looking for?
I don't know. But he even takes the family dog. Now, I don't know how big the dog is. I would assume it's a purse dog, but he still does not take Andrea and does not take Christine. Now, they return home from shopping at 9:45 that night. Peter claims he noted the time because he was just in time for his evening coffee, which okay. But he also said that he bought a locket for Christine cuz her birthday was the next week, which to
Right.
me is like this guy does all he knows how to do is mix messages. Now, I blame Marina for that one because the whole love letters twice
Mhm.
now when she's in another relationship
And
that
knows he's married.
I don't see how if you're talking to he just sent Marina back to tie up her shit and he's buying his current wife a birthday present like things are honky dory.
I
So
don't get
he
it. Maybe it was the locket was for Marina.
but I don't know. Well, he opens the garage door and finds Christine laying in a pool of blood. Now, Christine was sprawled out on the garage floor, face down, her hands folded beneath her body. One of her slippers was kicked out a few inches away from her bare left foot. A stream of blood, double the width of her body, was coming from a gaping wound in her head.
Oh
Now,
gosh.
Andrea was inside the house, unharmed and seemingly unaware of whatever happened to her mother. Now, mind you, she's 3, so fortunately, she wasn't a part of whatever happened.
Was she
No.
asleep, I hope?
Probably 9:45, I would imagine, right?
I would hope so.
Now, Peter calls the police, first telling them that there'd been an accident and his wife was dead. Then he switched to he thought his wife committed suicide.
Right. Okay.
So when now I can't judge because I guess when people panic, he's not processing things. So I was trying to give him some lateral movement on
Because he's a winner and he's made a
he's
sound decision so
panicking and
far.
he just sees a lot of blood and his wife is face down. So when the emergency people get to the home, they quickly realize that Christine had been murdered. Apparently, it was quick for them to realize, not so much for Peter, because he starts arguing with them, saying that no, 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 she didn't get murdered. She must have fallen when she was reaching for something in the garage. And then proceeds to stand over her body and demonstrate how he thought it happened, which to
What?
me, thank you. It was like a right, right. So, yeah, let's all gather around and spitball this one of what happened.
Her body's on the I can tell you if something happened to Jason and I came in and he had a huge gaping hole and was face down in blood, first of all, I wouldn't just leave him there. I'd be trying
Check
to check
him.
on him unless you're
Yeah.
seeing brain, in which case I'd be freaking the fuck out. But to stand over his corpse
Yeah.
and
Well,
like
and
try to
then
demonstrate, that would never occur to me to do.
no, and that's where I was like, okay, but I could also see if somebody is in like some seriously fucked up spot of like almost like not wanting to believe they're dead. People do weird things, I guess. Um
No. Just no.
so
Just to reiterate, I'm gonna go with no again.
So it was declared a murder or a homicide, whatever. It was established that Christine had been hit 7 times in the head with a blunt object, assuming a tire iron, but they do not know what she was hit with. And
A 100% accidental.
she also had
7 times? Yes.
defensive wounds on her hands.
She was playing basketball. It was her head bouncing. Were there stairs nearby that she could have possibly decided to accidentally fall down and slam her skull 7 times?
She bounced all the way down. Yeah, so I don't even understand how he could even make the claim that it was a suicide unless he's just plumb out of his gourd.
Uh,
So the police quickly became suspicious of Peter. He had already admitted to them that he and Christine had been having marital problems when they were talking to him, and even brought up that Christine had $1 million life insurance policy, which was like, yeah, they didn't ask. He just wouldn't shut up. So,
him sitting there saying, well, she does have $1 million life insurance policy. When exactly can I cash that in?
do I have to wait till your report's done, or can I just go to the bank and ask them to release the funds? Because there's a nice car on sale, and I don't know how long that deal's gonna last. I want to
I
jump
got a
on
new
that.
wife coming down here in a couple weeks. I'd like to
Yeah.
pay for, can
So
I?
this is awkward, but she's supposed to fly in a couple days, and I was supposed to get rid of her a while ago. So super inconvenient. But anywho, so police also find out that Christine had been in contact with a lawyer a few weeks before she was murdered. So apparently, Christine stumbled upon the love letters between Peter and Marina. So
Uh-oh.
she went to an attorney to find out what her rights were to ensure that she'd keep custody of their 3-year-old daughter. And I do believe that she did that because you figure she's been married before and lost one child in a divorce. So I believe that happened.
Yeah,
Um,
she's not wanting to lose another kid, so she's checking. It makes
yeah.
sense.
It would take another month before Peter was arrested, but on the 17th of August, 1973, 40-year-old Peter was arrested and charged with non capital murder. 5 days later, on the 22nd of August, he was released on $75,000 bail while maintaining his innocence, which, by the way, I find that really low for non capital murder for somebody who is potentially paying for somebody to be killed. But anywho, so when Peter is shown pictures of Christine's splayed out body on the garage floor, he was quoted as saying that he never knew she had so much brains until he saw the picture. The fuck? Who says that? Ugh.
What the hell? That's not normal.
No,
Even if
like
you don't like your significant other, that's not a normal comment.
it's not a normal comment at all. If somebody like laid out a picture of somebody who is dead that I didn't know, my first thought wouldn't be, "Whoa, I didn't realize they had so many brains."
Even if it was someone I didn't like, that wouldn't be my first thought,
No.
or my second, or
And
even
who
my third.
why would you even say that to police officers? To anyone? I mean, some thoughts you keep to yourself. That'd be one of them, fella. But so during this time from his arrest through the trial, Andrea goes to live with Peter's cousin and his wife. Now
That's good, I guess.
it'll be roughly a year later when the trial actually begins, and the lawyers Peter hires are known for being slick and sleazy. Now,
Naturally.
during this time, Marina moves in with Peter in the home where Christine was murdered.
Can I just say that Marina's life choices, I definitely call into question here. She didn't want this guy when he was single. Now that he's married and she's engaged to somebody else, she's all about him. Oh, wait, his wife has been murdered and he was arrested for it? Yes, this sounds like a sound decision. Let's move in with him. Great.
Now, she testifies on his behalf and that she loves him completely and believes that he's innocent.
And naturally, because she loves him, that makes him innocent, and therefore everyone else should believe.
Yeah.
Got it?
So the prosecution brings in a surprise witness, Peter's old friend Saba. Now, Saba admits to police that he'd known about several of Peter's plots to kill Christine. He said one of which Peter had talked extensively about how he planned to electrocute her while she was in the pool. And then he thought about tampering with her car. But the most important part of Saba's testimony was that he had been wearing a wire while talking to Peter after Christine's death. So he managed to recall Peter telling him that he was confident that they would stay ahead of the police and that he was angry at the hitman for killing Christine in a way that couldn't be written off as an accident. Another prosecution witness testifies that Peter had hired a Hungarian hitman who was nicknamed the Duck,
What?
which I don't know why. I really wanted to know, how does a hitman get the nickname the Duck?
I feel like that's an insult.
I don't know. But
I don't get it. Okay, sorry.
now that
So quack
hitman,
quack. Yeah.
now that hitman was later identified as Emery Algenik, who had already returned to Hungary.
Leave a duck feather at the scene of the crimes? Like, what the hell? How do you get the nickname the Duck?
I don't know.
Did you drop stuff on people's head? Maybe he was oh, well, maybe he was like a head smasher. And it's like, duck, get it? Like, oh.
I was thinking maybe he waddled. Like maybe he like shakes his little tail a little bit while he walks. I don't know. I just did a little bit of waddling for you just now. But
that's all right. I did the chest poked out like a duck with my arms at my side and like a wiggle. I didn't waddle because I'm in a chair, but
me neither. That's why there was a little bit of thumping if you heard it, because my chair hit the desk. So
now that you guys all know that we just did for you guys,
my waddling was more of a chair squirm and a desk rattle.
Hey, at least you didn't put your arms like the wings. I did that one.
You can keep that one. Now, there's conflicting reports on just how much Christine actually knew before her death. She reportedly told friends that Peter would never let her get a divorce because she knew too much about his financial dealings, which to me makes him seem like he's not doing things the way he should be.
He's not on the up and up.
Which then brings me back to the whole that $20,000 he procures for that original financial deal or the real estate deal. So if he's already successful and still cutting corners, supposedly, you know.
Yeah, but at the same time, I kind of question it because if she knows he's cheating, then it could just be like some spiteful shit she's saying. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, could be kind of spiteful, but have a ring of truth to it.
Yeah. Now, Saba, the friend of Peter's, his lifelong pal.
I don't think we should call him a friend of his anymore.
Saba also says that Christine once offered him $10,000 to break Peter's arms and legs.
Wait.
Yes.
So the woman that was killed, that was murdered by a hitman that her husband hired, tried to hire the husband's friend to break her husband. Okay. All right. Sounds like a healthy relationship, everybody.
I think it's a weird person to go to, your husband's friend. Like, you didn't think that was going to get back to him?
Was that who she was having an affair with? Does Andrea look like the friend?
So I don't know if Christine ever actually had an affair. It's just in Peter's warped little noggin. That's how he reasoned writing love letters to Marina, and that's why he punched her in the nose or the face or whatever he smacked around. That's how he reasoned doing any of that if she was cheating. Whether it happened or not, I don't know.
She went to okay, so in my warped brain, she's banging the best friend, which is why she thinks she can get him to break.
Maybe.
Why else would you go to the best friend?
But if she was sleeping with him, wouldn't that be payment? Like, why would she need to pay him $10,000? She couldn't just use her womanly wiles to be like, go break his legs.
She's already doing that to see if she can get him to break the legs. And when he's like,
you don't know that.
That's such a good idea.
We don't know that.
Yeah, but when he's like, that doesn't sound like a good idea to me, she continues to use her womanly wild so that he doesn't go tattletale.
And then she just fans a wad of $10,000 like a fan to be like, how about now? No, Andrew, that's not how it went down. But anywho.
You don't know.
We do not know that they were having any sort of an affair. But there's also reports that Christine had been trying to hire a hitman to kill Peter before she was murdered by the hitman that Peter hired. Now, we'll never know what part of this is all true. So, but that is what made me pick this case because I did laugh a little bit that fuck, get a divorce, go your separate ways. Don't try to hire people to murder one another. Like, I get it. You're successful. You're a greedy pig. You don't want to split the money that you've made, but marital assets, dick shit, split it.
Or
Go
don't
on
get
your
married. If
merry.
you want to be selfish with your money, then just keep them as a girlfriend. You can do what you want. Try not to have kids because I don't feel like it's a healthy relationship with a.
This is weird advice that you're giving.
He should have stayed single. Is all I'm saying.
Well,
Like
how
if he
about
didn't want to get divorced,
let's look at the bigger picture here. He didn't want to get divorced, so he hires a hitman. Now he doesn't get any of his money. Wouldn't it
well,
not have been easier to split it and go on?
unless he is greedy shit that it sounds like he is, in which case he's like, well, at least she didn't get half of everything.
True. That's probably better. Or like in his mind, you kind of hit the nail on the head. He is probably a bitter asshole that's sitting in jail going, ha ha, still didn't get
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, but that was a spoiler alert.
But I bet you Marina was like, once he's in jail, she's all about, I'll marry you. Because then she has free reign of his funds and can still sleep around.
Hmm. Remember the dude that they identified as the potential hitman?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they never confirmed that one because he scurried off back
The quacker.
to Hungary. Yep.
Yeah.
Ducky. Well, unfortunately, he keels over, I assume of natural causes, but they don't say, before
He was
police could
bumped off.
extradite him. Yeah. He was rubbed out.
Ew.
Andrea. Like, think of it like an eraser rubbed out, you sick pervert. Why's it always got to be about penises with you?
I got a standard to live up to.
Anyway, so the trial drags on for about 11 weeks, and it's like one of the main things in the media just because of how crazy this shit was. So the jury of 9 men and 3 women deliberated for almost 48 hours, and I don't even know why they needed that much time, but they took 48 hours before finding Peter guilty of hiring someone to kill his wife. Now, Peter sobs like a little titty baby when he addresses the court saying that he's not guilty, but he's sentenced to life in prison.
I
Now,
like that you said he was a little titty baby.
well, I don't feel sorry for him. He didn't seem like he was a gem of a fellow, anyhow, so it couldn't happen to a better person. Now, it was reported in the press the 10th of December, 1974, that Peter was being held in a 3-foot wide cell in an ancient jail in London, Ontario, which a grand jury had described as not fit to house cattle, which in my mind I went, yeah, because cattle wouldn't fit in that. But the only toilet he had was a plastic bucket, which he had to carry out and empty himself before being locked in at 9 p.m. each night. So I don't
So he
know
had
if
a plastic chamber pot. Got
yeah.
it.
So I don't know if he was just really upset that he had to empty his own chamber pot or that he had to be locked in at 9 p.m. every night. You figure the night Christine died, it was 9:45 when he wandered on in for his nightly coffee. But
So he's got an early bedtime. He's not happy.
yeah. So Peter appeals his sentence, but his appeal is dismissed by a panel of 5 judges in 1975. Now, to this day, Peter maintains his innocence, even saying that he would never hire a hitman to kill his wife, especially on his own property, because that makes the property value drop by half. To which I
Okay.
was just like, right. So if you're trying to get out of this, like maybe focusing on what her death did to your property values, not the right angle, fella.
Yeah.
Now, Peter is later convicted of a further charge of arson after paying $8,000 to someone to burn down his home that Christine had died in. Now, I thought that one was interesting because why wouldn't he have had Marina do that? Or was he trying to have the house set on fire while she was in it? Is where my head went. I was like, he's
Was
trying to
she
get rid of her too, huh?
was she still living in it?
I don't know. I don't know if she skedaddled on or at what point, because would you stick with somebody if they were just got life in prison for murdering or hiring someone to murder their wife? I feel like not a
I
solid
mean,
choice, but she's not making a series of good ones.
yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like you gotta kind of can't compare because you've also got your Amy Bishop episode where her husband stood by, still standing by her, and she went and shot up a bunch of people. If you haven't listened to Amy Bishop episode, it's I don't remember which number it is, but it's called "It Was an Accident." Check it out.
So, 10 years into Peter's sentence, he's released on day parole and lived in a halfway house in Peterborough. Now, when he's out, he decides to orchestrate a kidnapping and killing of his cousin's son as a
Why?
punishment as a punishment for his cousin's mismanaging of his finances while he was in jail, and also because he believed he was not raising his daughter properly while Peter was in jail.
Oh, so now it's his daughter.
It,
The
right
one that he
now
wanted to
he's
say
going to
was
claim.
probably not his. Now that the wife is dead, it is his kid. Got it. Makes sense. He's
So
a real gem.
so Peter was quickly rearrested. And then 2 years later, he's caught forming a similar plot from behind bars against the daughter of his former attorney.
What?
Now, the reason for this one was Peter was upset his lawyer froze his stocks for non payment of legal fees. Now, obviously, he was caught doing this both times, and both cases resulted in him receiving 4 additional life sentences. So, if you're counting, that's 5 life sentences for dipshit. Now, Peter is currently 89 years old. He has suffered from multiple types of cancers. He's also had a stroke and several heart attacks, but this asshole just keeps on ticking.
Wow.
I don't know what they're feeding him in there, but it's a mystery how he's still alive. But he resides in a medium security prison in Kingston, Ontario, and a special housing unit for crippled and disabled convicts. He's been denied parole at every hearing, and he refuses to admit his role in Christine's death. And for those of you who are curious what happened to Andrea, not podcast Andrea, but daughter Andrea.
I'm somebody's daughter.
Well,
Fuck
no one.
you.
Well, if anyone's curious what happened to this Andrea, she's had obviously a lot to deal with growing up.
Poor
Um,
baby.
so she turns to drugs and alcohol and toxic relationship after toxic relationship. And I don't know at what point she turns, but she does endure and breaks through, tackles everything, and is now in a healthier place in her life and has sought to help others with their recovery, and has her own website called scratchrecovery.com where she talks about her struggles in a blog, even with her mother's murder. Obviously, she's too young to remember it, but all the things she went through. I mean, she had to grow up with the shit in the media. So,
Well,
um,
yeah, and dad killing mom and denying that.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's a lot.
I'm glad for her that she's in a better place. But I don't
I
blame
wonder if
her for going down the path she did initially.
I wonder
But
if she was
it's
forced by the cousin that was raising her to visit with her dad.
I don't know. I don't feel like I would want to.
I wouldn't want to either, but she was so little. I wonder if she even had a choice.
True. But anywho, she's taken her life as being like a life coach for other people. But that again is the Peter Demeter case.
Peter was the real Peter.
I'm not laughing at that. Oh, and by the way, I just looked it up, and his dog was not a small dog. It was like a Brittany Spaniel, looks about 30 pounds. So not a
Huh,
toy, anything.
good to know. Seems kind of awkward. I wonder where they went that they took a big dog with them. I mean, I know it's not a big dog, but it's not
Yeah.
a purse dog like we thought.
Still think it's a little weird that Like, the daughter didn't go. I get if
Well,
the wife, they're not
well,
the best
the daughter is not his daughter while the wife is alive. The daughter is only his daughter
when it's
when the wife is
convenient.
dead. No, when she's dead. Once she's dead, it's his daughter again. That's the way that works. Didn't you know that? No?
Which, by the way, I think he looks like a Looney Tune. So as you know.
Good to know.
I just couldn't believe, like, okay, so let's pretend like every time he had a parole hearing, every time he tried to say that he didn't hire somebody to kill his wife. Okay, so did you hire somebody to burn down your house? No, that was a mistake. Well, did you hire somebody to kill your nephew? No, that was a mistake too. Okay, how about your attorney? Did you hire somebody to kill his daughter? Like, at some point, it's one of those, okay, fella, you're looking down the wrong place to hire people because none of it's working out, fortunately. But he's just a lazy ass. He doesn't want to do his own work.
Well, the part I don't get is these guys that they find out are trying to hire hitmen while they're locked up. I feel like they should have their like ability to communicate with the outside world revoked. Like, if you can't keep your shit together and be on your best behavior and try to be rehabilitated, then sit in your little solitary cell and keep your trap shut.
Yeah. Now, Judge John Driscoll sentenced Peter in the kidnapping plot in 1988, and he's quoted saying, like, he says this directly to Peter, "Your evil knows no bounds. It never rests. It never ends. In my opinion, this man should never, ever be released on parole. Whether or not you are inherently evil, I do not know, but you ooze out evil of every pore and contaminate everyone around you."
He sounds like a great judge.
Yeah.
I like him. Mad respect for that judge. Great judge of character.
Now, what I thought was funny is it's not until Peter hits like his 70s that he tells people that, hey, I guess I'm gonna just have or live my life in prison. Yeah, that's what happens when you get 5 life sentences.
I can't say that it was very easy for him to hire a new attorney to try to get him out because criminal activity against his attorney, I would not want to be his attorney. Nope.
Well, like, so I think he probably didn't want to pay his bill to his attorney because since he saw it as he didn't get off,
he was found guilty.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pay that. What's he gonna do? Put me in jail? Kind of scenario. But
he's a winner.
He's one to not own up to any of his shit, so it's not his fault. Naturally, it's the attorney's fault because he got upset of him not paying his bill. But I don't understand why he was going after people's kids.
As a way to punish them?
Yeah, but that's even more fucked. Like, his own nephew he was going to have killed as punishment to his cousin.
His fuckery knows no bounds. We hope you enjoyed today's episode of Homicide Hobbies. If we made you laugh, if we made you cry, or if we mind-fucked you for the day, then we thank you for listening. Please write a review on whatever you're listening to us on. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your coworkers. We're freaking awesome. And join us next week for another episode of Homicide Hobbies. I'm Andy.
And I'm Claire.
That's all we've got.